Hi, it's Andrew Bell with you, and great to see a run of beautiful spring weather. It's actually 26 degrees here today. While I just go through this week's eNews, I want to share with you an insight into this magnificent property here at 300 Monaco Street at Broadbeach Waters. This is quite remarkable, this property. It's an enormous gated estate with a flat 3,132 square metres of main river frontage. In fact, this land holding is the second largest on this exclusive Monaco street. There's a huge 46.2 metre water frontage with an exclusive private sandy beach, the best beach along Monaco Street. And of course the home, massive home, 1,204 square metres in total, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms. Have a good look at that as I continue with my eNews. Well, talking about eNewses, my last certainly stirred up a lot of interest, and that was about the illogical decision of government. And the incredible response that I got showed just how much energy and how much feeling there was about this particular feeling. Some people, and in fact there was less than 5 people, got back to me thinking there was some political agenda behind the commentary. But overwhelmingly, people acknowledged it was a bad policy that we were talking about. Now, through my 40 years in the industry, I've dealt with governments of both persuasion, and in every government, there are poor decisions that are made. And I certainly call out any government that is in power if there is a bad housing policy. And that, I feel, is what I'm responsible to do. I was also amazed how many tenants were outraged to think that these two government policies were going to make life even more difficult for them. I'm pleased that the Queensland Premier has called for a housing summit to discuss the crisis. One can only hope something will come out of it and it's not just a talk. Because at the end of the day, it's going to be the tenants that suffer the worst. But more of that later. Now, no question that rising costs of living, and in particular rising interest rates, have been having an effect in the market. Early days of the correction phase in the real estate cycles that always follow. Yet, there are parts of Australia already reporting 15 to 20% correction in real estate prices from their peak earlier this year. But it's not uniform, and there are some very clear signs that the Gold Coast market is amongst the best performing market in Australia. At this stage, there is no sign of any substantial decline in migration into Queensland, and in particular the Gold Coast. I've mentioned over the last 2 years that one of my indicators is rental inquiries. We've had one of the largest rent rolls in Queensland, and pre-pandemic, there was approximately 3,000 rental inquiries per month. At the peak of the boom, late last year, it rose to around 14,000, but has eased back to a consistent rate of about 10,000 inquiries per month. Likewise, in monitoring our inquiry and inspection numbers at open homes for people buying properties and the percentage of inquiries out of interstate, this has only softened minutely, yet it remains incredibly strong. Another indication is the percentage of auction properties selling under the hammer. You've got to remember that most auction properties do indeed actually sell, but the media chooses to monitor just those that have sold by auction day as their monitoring tool. Around the country, success rates have been hovering below 50% throughout most of the country, although they are now rising. And the latest figures from REA show a success rate around 50% range. Now, in our in-room auctions and on-site auctions over the past week or so, we recorded 72.5% success rate, which in fact has risen now to over 85%. I acknowledge that over a measure of the past 20 years, we have always ranked as the highest performing real estate company in Queensland in auctions by a significant amount. So maybe we're not always the best monitor. But put that aside, the fact is that the success rates at auction have been rising over the past 4 weeks. The other two measures that we use are the volumes of inquiries on properties for sale, and that's certainly ticked up strongly over the past 4 weeks, and the average number of people registering to bid on auction properties, which has also risen quite strongly too. Whilst all of the above measures buyer activity, the other side of that coin, of course, is stock levels, which remain acutely low here on the Gold Coast. And so the stage is set for a very firm real estate market throughout spring and leading into summer, which is such a strong selling period. We had our ball last Saturday night, and wow, what a night. I want to thank so many of you who came along and people who donated. A record amount was raised, some $354,000, and it's going to go to work very, very quickly to help the young kids with muscular dystrophy and to keep fighting for a cure into this disease. So I want to acknowledge everyone for that. Speaking of acknowledgements, I also want to acknowledge our Queen, a great lady, and her passing, which really drove home one clear message to me. One day she was welcoming in a new Prime Minister, and 2 days later she'd passed. None of us know when that final day comes. So with that understanding, it's about making every day the best day. And that should be our mantra. Try not to sweat the small stuff and truly embrace life and live it every day to the fullest. It's spring, the Gold Coast shines, and I wish you all the very best.